when it comes to connectivity from India, it's the easiest to Sri Lanka. That's the first thing. The next thing is we have the ITC, we have the Taj, so we can replicate a lot when you're talking of in terms of hotels or food. I'm just mentioning these two hotels basically because these are y'all's favorites. But we can replicate Indian weddings to the T. I mean, you name the ceremonies, we can do it. We have been doing it for the last 19 years and we can do it furthermore. Plus, when it comes to packages like you mentioned, we can work out packages. I cannot speak for the airline, but I can speak a bit for the hotels, and as a wedding planner, we can do something with the hotels. It depends on your numbers and also the number of events that you're going to host down there.
Thanks to add to that, but the simple answer is yes, the Indian traditions can be followed in Sri Lanka and observed and celebrated if the wedding is done there.
Can we, before we ask the other question, can we also have Ms. Yolanda Puja Vijay representing the Sri Lankan wedding planners? She's a wedding planner who's actually decided to come from Sri Lanka to meet.
For your good comments as well as, yeah, the Sri Lanka is on its own nature, as what you mentioned, is a paradise itself. But we do have a culture as well. We do have human beings, brothers and sisters who are actually giving you kind of a very warm hospitality itself. So we are one of the most friendly nations when it comes to tourism. So anybody who comes to Sri Lanka became loyal to Sri Lanka, not as the kind of tourist, but they became part of us as well. On the other hand, if you think about the amenities, the technology, as well as the transformation of our tourism industry, you can enjoy whatever the luxuries that you enjoy in any sophisticated tourism destination in Sri Lanka. And combinedly, I think it is the best package that you have the nature, you have the heritage, you have all the elements that you are looking for in a tourist destination, combined with the great human beings, plus the particular tourism industry which is ready to take over the entire world. So we've been changing ourselves every year. So you see, like say, even in Sri Lanka, in Colombo, the new properties came in, the hotels were being changed, new tourism products were being introduced. So every time you come to Sri Lanka, you have something more to do, something more to enjoy and experience. And mind you, it is one trip is never allowed you, never possible for you to complete this country. It has such a variety. So anyway, you have to come back for more if you want to enjoy this country in full. Right now, if you think about the currency, you have kind of an advantage to be having it in Sri Lanka. So the economy-wise, I think we do have a kind of advantage, and also the tourism taxes are very much in consideration of having concessions and the feasibility levels. Like say the schemes like battery funding and such kind of things are being already in place, and also we are actually looking for more tourism incentives which makes our products more feasible as well as more competitive compared to the rest of the destinations. So that I think in overall attraction for Indian planners or Indian tour operators to choose Sri Lanka. So comparatively, I think most of the other destinations, though they are offering certain benefits, still they are being competitive price-wise. If you think about, like say, destinations in Middle East like Dubai or maybe in the Far East, still we are very much competitive within the particular, say, exchange structure as well as the prices and everything. And mind you, even the number of flights operating to Sri Lanka from India has been increasing on a daily basis. So that actually makes an advantage on the airfare side as well. So likewise, you will be having a massive number of macroeconomic factors which makes ourselves more competitive and attractive as a tourism destination.
Thank you. Anish, we have...
First of all, as a country, we can offer you the beach, the hills, or the cold climate weather, or if you're looking at the forest, we can offer you any one of those. And within a span of 3 to 4 hours of commuting around the city. That's the first thing. Then the next thing is, as a destination, we are a hidden gem in Southeast Asia. That's the reality of it, for destination weddings. People like to come to Sri Lanka specifically from India because we portray their traditions, and as a cultural people ourselves, we bring out the best we can into the Indian community and the culture. Also, we have lots of Indians who are also back there in Sri Lanka. So like councillors mentioned that we can offer you the Gurdwara, we have the Sindhi Maharaj, we have, the South Indian Pandits, we have everything that we can offer. So as basically a country, I would suggest and say that you need to come and experience the hospitality of Sri Lanka for you to get a better idea of what it is all about. But as a wedding planner, we can give you anything you want in Sri Lanka. So that's an advantage to you. I think some things you might not get in your own home country, we go that extra mile to give it back to Sri Lanka.
Can you disclose that thing?
Pardon me, I didn't get you there.
Can you disclose that thing you said?
Ma'am, he's saying if we could disclose that.
Okay, fine. I'll give you a bit more. So basically, most functions in India are rarely held at hotels, from my knowledge. They're rarely held at hotels. They're mainly in halls or in community centers. Correct me if I'm wrong, please, but I believe that's it. It's only the really high end that can have their weddings in 5-star hotels. Whereas in Sri Lanka, we can offer you a 5-star hotel. Your Indian food to the T, because we have, in all our hotels, almost all our hotels, we have Indian chefs. And that's something that you'll always pick on when you come to another country. I mean, the Indian wants their Indian food wherever they go. So those are things we can offer you as a country. Then our hospitality is the next level. When it comes to Sri Lanka, the hospitality is beyond exception. So these are things that we can offer you all.
My last question to you all. World looks at India as a business-wise also, with culture and everything. Why it took so much time for Sri Lanka to come to India and promote yourself as a Sri Lankan? So, question for you.
Sir, this is a question I think Chairman will have to ask.
As you already know, we are visa free, or like say we offer free visas for Indian travelers. So it itself is a kind of a benefit when it comes to a wedding with a large number of people. And also the flight distance from Sri Lanka, India to Sri Lanka is, I don't think, like say if you think about Mumbai, it's only 2.5 hours. So likewise, less than 3 hours of time, most Indian cities can be covered Sri Lanka. So it itself is kind of very low flight time. And also if you are comparing ourselves to the other destinations, wedding destinations famous among Indians, we are more culturally ready. Actually, whatsoever the elements which I mentioned earlier, if you want to have kind of a, say if it's a Gurudwara or Faras or any other kind of a religious ritual, we are capable of doing that because we do have that kind of religious setup in the country itself. And apart from that, if you are being comparatively looking at the properties, its abilities of catering weddings, we have one of the best location advantage itself. So if you want to have the best photo locations, if you want to have the best level of hospitality, and price-wise, we are comparatively, I think we are very much affordable compared to most of the particular competitor destinations of ours, which we have been catering to Indian weddings. So overall, I think the factors that people are being benefited bringing their wedding to Colombo or like bringing their wedding to Sri Lanka is immense. Because like I think most of the Indian weddings are happening within India and Goa. Or maybe like say earlier it was very famous in Thailand or maybe Maldives or some places like that. But you know, each of these places are actually lost its popularity because of numerous reasons. But Sri Lanka in recent past gained its popularity as a tourist destination. So as the Consul General mentioned earlier, each year has been having many accolades won by international magazines, various sort of tourism sites and everything. So your wedding became a kind of very exclusive thing if you're going to have it in Sri Lanka. And there Sri Lanka has unexplored wedding destinations where if you want to plan something on such kind of a place, we are capable of doing that. I think some of our competitor destinations, as an example, Maldives, might not be able to do that. But we do have forests, we do have culture, we do have whatsoever other kind of elements combined, and I think in overall package, Sri Lanka is unmeasurably above the rest of the particular competitors of ours. Actually, India is producing, or like say, Indian tourists are the largest number of tourists coming to Sri Lanka even right now. So we have been reaching, I think, 400,000 tourists by now, and we are expecting 500,000 this year. And every year the Indian tourist numbers are growing. But what we want is to be giving the best that we have, which is not being experienced by most of the mainframe or the mass Indian tourist market. If we have been thinking about the MICE market, meetings, incentives, conferences and such kind of exhibitions, our facilities are getting better every day. We do have one of the largest event venues within South Asia, which has all the entertainment facilities, the other kind of amenities and everything. So every year we are coming and promoting Sri Lanka in India, or we are actually putting more effort and impact to India because we want our neighbors to get the best out of us. Because like say, for us more than anybody else, I think the most important tourist segment is the Indian tourist. And we know Indian middle class has been growing. And Indian general tourists are going for a finer taste and finer choices. And Sri Lanka has been offering these finer choices all throughout for the European clientele. Actually, Sri Lanka has been famous as a tourist destination for Europeans. So we are actually, our tourist market is for European tourists, and our tourist season is the winter season of the West. But now we want it to be shifted to our Asian neighbors, especially India, where they can enjoy the finest part of tourism. Because if you think about the bungalows, the tea tourism, the trails, the adventures and various sort of experiences, all throughout this other European and luxury tourism are being enjoyed right now, open for the Indian tourist market. So, whilst we have been getting the numbers, we want these numbers to be, say, segmented into these value-added categories. So, the wedding is one such thing we are looking at. Beyond the weddings, we are looking at the MICE and the exhibitions and incentive market, and also other sorts of things, like say marine-based tourist products, like maybe the diving and other kind of things. Island hopping, maybe like say mountain climbing and trails, and those sort of experiences which Indians themselves have been having it in their destination. But if you want to have it in a compact island and to be having a kind of a real value-added holiday, we are offering that every day to India. So that is the whole aim of pitching our tourism promotional efforts in India more than anywhere else.
Thank you, Chairman.
I think Yolanda might be kind of a better contender for that question because she is first-hand person who experienced organizing and planning the wedding. So I must give her a chance. But definitely the properties as well as other partners, even the airline and also the hotels and other attraction and such kind of places always has best offers for the newly wedded couples. So Yolanda will also add on from that point.
Yeah, so like a government incentive to the hotel to promote itself. Anything on those lines also, if you could also continue with that.
So, sir, I think for that question we can have a one-on-one, but I think Ms. Yolanda will be able to answer the question as in how they are actually able to ape the real Indian weddings in Sri Lanka, and she's had a first-hand experience in doing the wedding. So I'm also, including you guys, very intrigued to listen to her. So Ms. Yolanda, if you could let us know what has been your experience of hosting Indian weddings. Thank you.
So basically, first of all, nothing about remarriage, but after your first year anniversary, you can always come back and the hotel gives you a free room night where you can actually stay and enjoy one more night in the hotel. So that's rethinking it all over again.
Thank you, Ms. Yolanda. That was a good answer for the question that was asked. Next question.